guys, what is up? My name is Megan and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I hope you guys are doing well and staying safe. Today we are here to talk about the books I received and also purchased myself in the month of October. This is one of my most reasonable hauls and also the first one where I've been gifted so many books. So thank you so much if you've gifted something to me this month. Obviously I will go more in detail, but without further ado, let's just hop on in. I will start with the gifted stack and then move on to the books I purchased myself. The first book I have received this month comes from Amélie at Amélie Boucher, which I will link in the description. She is another booktuber which I talk about constantly and really adore. She's also from my neck of the woods, and she gifted me Spoiler Alert by Olivia Dade. I wanted this book so bad. Everybody has been talking about it, and it's just something that appeals to me as a reader so much. So thank you so much for gifting this to me. She gifted it to me in a time where life wasn't super easy. We were waiting for test results for COVID for my significant other, and it was just not a grand old time. And she brought a lot of light in my world with this book. Spoiler Alert is, I think, a dual perspective narrative, but I'm not 100% sure. The way the synopsis talks about it makes it sound like it is. It follows a main male character named Marcus, who is one of the actors on one of the world's biggest television shows of the time in the story, and basically it obviously brings a lot of pressure to him, and I guess that in order to release like his frustrations, he writes fanfic of the show in which he acts, and I think specifically fanfic between two of the characters in the show. And then we follow another main character who is named April. April is plus size, and that is what has brought a lot of attention to this book. And April, and what specifically intrigued me about this book, is that April has always loved fanfiction and the specific show where Marcus is an actor of, and she does cosplays for those fanfictions and just the show in general. I believe she has kept this for herself for the longest time, but decides to publish one of her cosplays on Twitter and it goes viral. I believe the actor and this main character April go on a date together. I think it might be a publicity stunt at first, but they end up falling in love. I've heard this book is very steamy as well, and I love anything that has to do with fanfiction or just really feeling like you are a part of a community or love something so much and want to share your love on it. I think that having a plus size main character can do only good in this story and bring more awareness and attention to how they are possibly treated in the internet world and just the fanfic and cosplay world in general as well, and how the romance can kind of be disregarded or even hated on by a lot of people. So I think there's going to be a lot of romantic things in this book, but it's also going to pack a punch, so I'm very excited to have this in my collection. Thank you again to Amélie for gifting this to me. Also, her birthday is coming up in the month of November, so if you guys love booktubers, and even if I'm guessing some of you follow her, don't forget it's her birthday soon for well wishes or even gifts off her wish list. I'm just saying. And the last two books I were gifted to me by Jason, so thank you so much, Jason. I feel like I've mentioned you in so many videos now, but those are The Midnight Library and Mistletoe and Mr. Right, both of which I have already read. Mistletoe and Mr. Right is a book I had an e-arc of and really ended up loving. This is the companion novel to The Tourist Attraction. The Tourist Attraction was not a fan of. However, this companion novel series is a romance series all set in Alaska, and this one just hit the mark for me. This follows Lana and Rick. Lana was a side character that was pretty prominent in The Tourist Attraction, which I didn't really enjoy in that book, but ended up loving in this one. But just, this is not my wrap-up. Basically, this follows Lana, who has a lot of money, and her family has this huge business that purchases properties and just invests in a lot of things throughout the world. It's like a worldwide corporation, and she decides to invest in this small town in Alaska where our story is set. A lot of the villagers are very angry at her. It's a small knitted community and they don't want condos to be built and all of these other things, and so in order to redeem herself towards the townspeople, Lana decides that she will volunteer herself to hunt this Christmas moose. And I don't mean like hunt as in hunt down and harm, I mean like relocate, because there's this moose in this town that is kind of creating havoc around Christmas time, and he basically during every Christmas season comes into town without anyone ever seeing him and destroys all the Christmas decorations, and it's becoming more and more like violent and dangerous, and so she kind of takes it upon herself to try to save the town's Christmas. And there's also Rick, who we follow, who has been divorced for a few years, and it's kind of their romance. He has a lot more to him. I won't spoil my thoughts on this, but Rick, loved his character, and if you guys are looking for something Christmassy, this one can definitely hit the mark. The other book I was gifted is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. Why is this so hard to say? This is a book completely out of my comfort zone, which I also talk about in my wrap-up. However, just a quick synopsis. This follows a main character, Nora, who has had a not so great life, especially in the recent days. Her cat actually dies and she loses her job. A lot of things bring Nora to kind of contemplate whether she wants to live or die. Nora takes it upon herself to actually disappear from the world. She takes pills and tries to overdose and ends up in this place called the Midnight Library. This is a space between life and death where she can look through this book of regrets, which are all the regrets Nora has had throughout her life, and there is also an endless possibility of books where each of the different decisions Nora could have taken in her life are in book form. It's kind of like a multiverse, and she can explore what her other lives could have looked like in order to try to find the perfect life for herself. She goes through the journey, learns an incredible amount of things, and you as a reader also get to reflect. This was amazing. More on it on my review, but I got this month. Thank you so much again for the gift. And then I have 4 books that I purchased myself. The first one, which I am currently reading, I feel like a lot of these books I have read already, which we love, and that is Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. This is a YA mystery contemporary kind of thing. It follows a main character named Enchanted, who is a young black girl. She's 17 years old and she has always wanted to be a singer. Her parents aren't so keen on that idea. However, everything changes when she kind of tricks her mom into auditioning, and even though she doesn't get the audition, she meets this very famous man called Corey. Corey is kind of like an R&B singer. He's kind of like a pop star. He's also 28 years old, and this book discusses a lot of different things. There are a lot of trigger warnings at the forefront of this book, which I'll leave in the description, and basically it is a story about Enchanted, who kind of gets groomed by Corey and then ends up going on tour with him, and he becomes this very terrifying person. But there's also an element in here where at the beginning, like the first chapter of this book, we see that Enchanted wakes up covered in blood, and we don't know if Corey is dead or not, and what happened to him, and what's going to happen to Enchanted, and it's kind of that starting point, and then we go back in time to the beginning of the story, and then it kind of flashes forward and back. This is incredible as of now, reads super quickly, and has such important topics, so this should be in my November wrap-up for those of you interested, but this is one of the books I purchased for myself. We then have Make a Scene by Mimi Grace. This is a fake dating relationship, and it sounds amazing. This follows a main character named Retta, and basically her life not going so well because her ex-boyfriend or something is getting married, and so she decides that she's going to go to the wedding with her really awesome boyfriend who she doesn't have, and so she kind of takes it upon herself to make a deal with her next door neighbor who is like a boxer, and I don't think they're really that close, and so she kind of makes a deal he can't refuse, and they pretend to date for the wedding, and obviously they will fall in love during the wedding. It sounds amazing. This book in of itself The aesthetic is fantastic. I believe this is self-published as well, and I always love supporting self-published authors. We are down to the last two, one of them being In a Holidays by Christina Lauren. I could not purchase this book this month because Christmas is coming, you guys. I'm filming this on November 1st, and I've been jamming out to Christmas music all morning. Cannot wait for the holiday season, and it's been very hard not to read this book like now. This book I purchased because it's Christina Lauren and Christmas mixed together, but I think it has to do with a main character named Madeline, and every year she has this tradition with her family that they go to like this Christmas cottage, and I think it's with other family friends and just friends in general, and this is kind of a twist on Groundhog Day. Not sure where this is gonna go. Sometimes I adore Groundhog Day retellings, books, things. Sometimes I hate them. I hope this will be on the good side and that I'm going to absolutely love it, but I am a little bit wary, but I'm still really excited. And the final book I bought is a used copy of a book I'm super excited to read, and that is Head Over Heels by Hannah Ornstein. This book, immediately when I saw the cover, I was intrigued. I love this book, and it has to do with gymnastics, which is always something that has intrigued me so very much. This follows a main character named Avery, and Avery was on her way to make the Olympics, but then one tragic performance kind of cut her Olympic dreams to an end, and her best friend ended up being an Olympic champion and marrying their Olympic/gymnast coach, and she also went through a breakup with a boy who played football, and so she decides to go back to her hometown and I believe either assist or do something in the gymnastic gym where she used to train, and she also knows the new coach of the gymnastic team named Ryan, and I believe she either assists him or something of the sorts, and they end up falling in love. I know there's supposed to be like new scandals arising from the gymnastic world, and it kind of puts their relationship in jeopardy. I don't really know what's going to happen, but anything gymnastics, it just sounds so good and intriguing to me, so got that one used and I am excited to read it. So those are all the books I have gotten this month. Thank you so much to anyone who has gifted me books off my Amazon wish list. As I mentioned in one of my videos, I have changed my links and it includes my wish list, and have changed a few links in the description as well. Not that I'm saying you guys need to buy anything for me, that's not it at all, but I want you to let me know what books you've purchased or taken off your library this month, and comment a Christmas tree if you're still here, and I'll see you very soon with another video. Happy reading, guys, and stay safe. Bye!